हेलो।
हेलो। मैं लिंक भेज दिया।
नहीं, लिंक कहाँ पे पता नहीं चल रहा। ठीक है, मैं देखता हूँ। शुड आई स्टार्ट? हेलो। शुड आई स्टार्ट? या so yeah, hello everyone. Bhupendra here. So basically, I'm here currently to talk on a particular, a lot of things maybe. I have a agenda in front of me. Uh, Firstly, I would like to start with a bit of introduction about myself, and then we will a bit of background about my company, and then we'll proceed to how what is a startup and some insights from my journey as a startup, my learnings throughout the journey, and then I'll talk about some of the modern technologies which could be useful for startups, a bit about the lean startups, and uh, and then yeah, we'll open it for the Q&A round. Yeah. So, so as I said, my name is Bhupendra Kunwar. I run a technology company called SYMB Technologies. We are a web and mobile-based technology company. We work in the fields of IoT, web, mobile, and analytics. We basically build technology products and solutions for businesses to help them grow from a technology perspective. Yeah, and moving on to the next things. A bit about my career. I did my graduation from NIT Labad, computer science. Um, Started in during my graduation. I did a couple of projects there when I was in the final year with my co-founder Mohit. That's how we met in the third year of our journey, which during my BTech tenure, and then basically we started working with a couple of local distributors, vendors, business people in Allahabad, and then we built some technology solutions. We built an e-commerce mobile web-based application, I think, during that time for a bookseller, and we worked with an NGO, helped them with their websites. We automated a few departments inside our our college, NIT Labad. Uh, so that's how we started our journey, and then post that I moved on to do my PGDM at IIM Lucknow. This is 2012 I'm talking about, and then went through the journey of through my B school, and which is another fun journey. We this was a different setup altogether for me and a different experience from my graduation. I was a fresher when I entered IIM Lucknow, then got transformed into a lot of with the help of a lot of students who had a lot of experience. I learned a lot from them, and then finally started working at a pharmaceutical company. Did my stint there for around 2 months, and then that's when I decided that I did not like basically the role which I was doing, and then started my journey as a technology entrepreneur. Started off SYMB Technologies. So M and B are basically Mohit and Bhupendra in the SYMB, just in case you're wondering. Yeah. So then we started this company, and then as a primarily web-based because during till that time we've had no exposure to mobile world, and that's how we thought like the things which we used to do during the BTech days. We said we thought why not just continue that and then let's take it forward from there. And then we approached a few of our older customers, got a few references, friends, families, etc. Started telling them what we do, started meeting a bunch of people there. A lot of we went to both kind of people who were like bigger companies and smaller players as well. And then started. So first year was pretty much so we were joined by one of our BTech batchmate, Deepak, and he helped us along with Mohit a lot from the technology part of view because at that time we did not had a lot of money to hire good people and a limited team. So these were the like two hands like which I had, and I was like the kind of a person who used to go to people and talk about the company. This is what we do, and we used to tell at that time that we were like six people team, and like I used to like go there and bluff about it, and then that's how basically I started up because nobody would at that time, even if it is simple website, but people ask you about like where are you from, where is your company. So we had a home office. Then we in a month or so we moved, and we I think by December 2014, I guess we became like around a 12 people team. Yeah, that is almost like a five months after I started up, right? And then we got a customer on board who was like mainly our customer, and we worked with a couple of agencies. Then started getting some work from them as well. Uh, did work on one or two products of our own with a couple of friends which I had, and that basically that's the half year journey. I can tell you there were like we did around two three partnerships. Then a lot of them failed. A lot of them suffer. But we have relationships with them today. But yeah, we were not able to succeed in all of them, right? And then what we decided was let's focus more on the services business. Let's try to grow this a bit further. Then some as we went ahead, some learnings came through, and then we basically we met a lot of experienced people throughout, and then so they were like different kinds of people who became our customer. So like people from the financial background, people from marketing backgrounds. They were like ex heads of marketing for various businesses and financial heads, etc. So those kind of people. Some people were from operations background. Some had exposure, and some were like top management had been the top management of bigger IT firms, right? So these were the kind of senior people who started interacting with us in the second year, and then they gave us a lot of work. A lot of learning came through in executing the projects with them. So basically, these were like people who were like super senior to us, and we they found us as like people who were like who were bright enough to say, and we were like we acted like a center or attraction for them. And then they gave us a lot of work, and we worked with them, built their own, worked on their ideas because like we had already experimented a lot of things on our ideas, but we failed like in the first 6 months, right? And then so we decided let's just try to scale this services thing up, and then that's how we went ahead. Did a lot of in terms of not actual partnerships, but yeah, we were the tech partners, and their whole technology depended on us. So the some of them were able to exit their businesses, some of them were able to scale their businesses enough to keep an in-house team, right? And some of them are still with us. Uh, so that's pretty much it. We worked so over the past 4 years, we've done more than like 150 technology projects. We are like a 30 people team now right now. I work out of Noida office, and that's pretty much it in my journey. Then I would come to mm, okay. Mm, so insights of an entrepreneurial journey. I would like to speak about it a bit. So basically, what I could say is, so those of you who want to become entrepreneurs, for them, what I could say is, they're like good parts and bad parts. It has both the entrepreneurship has both the parts. The scary ones could be the journey is very challenging. Things, anything can happen in this. So basically, today you are like you think that this particular idea is like super hot. Then people start coming into that market, and then you're like you are like everyone else. So anything that can happen. In the beginning, you don't have resources to start with. You do not have funds. You have like a lot of family pressure, peer pressure, whatever kind of pressures you have, right? And then there is an opportunity cost of yours. So this is like the more the scary part of it. So I'll like to talk about now the good ones also. What I the best part about entrepreneurship is what I like a lot is basically it makes you stronger as a human being. So if you work in a corporate or maybe an organization which already has a set process defined throughout the organizations, so you are like more like a pawn in the whole game. So you only have the visibility to a level, right? So when you do a job, your roles and responsibility and everything has been defined. Like when what as an entrepreneur, what you do is you basically also define the whole organization. So you get to create your own structure. You get to go, but you then you need to also understand that it has to be a structure. But yeah, that realization comes later on in your life. Like in the initial 2 years, we did not decide. We were basically working on everything. The founders were supposed to be everywhere, but now when as you start setting up a human resource function in the organization, start actually writing down each of their roles and responsibility, then you realize that yeah, so that is how you build an organization. So what I would say, and that takes a lot of thinking. It's so when you think a lot from an organization point of view, how would this startup get transformed into a bigger company, right? Which actually does some business. So then you have to do a lot of work there. And as an entrepreneur, I think you need to realize. But the good thing about it is also that it teaches you a lot, right? You have a lot of network which you, as a in a work role, will have a limited network. You have network across almost all the industries, I would say, all the functions of businesses, right? Because you need mentors, advisors from each of them, right? And that's why you network a lot. You build yourself. So from an individual perspective, I would say a lot of learning, a lot of thinking. As an individual, you become strong, right? So like even if you do not have money in your pocket, you still have the guts to pay hire people. So I think that strong you become when uh, you basically go through the journey because you believe in things, and you believe in yourself so much that the things around you will have to follow. So that is what I would say. uh, that's the good part of it, right? It's the only good part, I can say, at this point of time in my life at least. um, then I would talk about learnings. Learnings basically, one important learning is basically you learn. So you have to decide whom you want to learn from. So that is that is what one thing. Somebody just told me that. So if you have a goal, and if you are supposed to go take, suppose you are taking a bus from Ghaziabad to Gurgaon, right? So you have a goal fixed, and you sit on a bus, say to say Hapur, right? And then what happens is basically you boarded a different bus, and even if there were stoppages in between, uh, and you boarded a different bus, or you went in a different direction, I think that becomes a really bad thing for you, and you will end up wasting a lot of time. So you need to be clear about one, what is the direction initially, and then the stoppages, which are these people, which are these projects, which are these influencers, advisors, etc., mentors who act as an enabler throughout the journey. They have to be decided based on the goal. So basically, so once you decide that you want to go to Gurgaon, I would say you do some kind of a research, what kind of bus you want, what are the routes, what are the ways of transportation, etc., and then you decide how do you go, and you also decide what is the time. So whatever things you have to decide, you based on that. So similarly, you can also plan your entrepreneurial journey. So suppose you have a product which is supposed to be in healthcare industry. You decide whom do you want to sell it, whom do you want to talk about it to, um, what would be the channel to sell it, how do you build it. So everything has to be thought through like that. Who will be the influencers who will help, who will advocate your project, who will advocate your product, right? So basically, I would say those kind of things needs to be thought through, right? So, and it's very important that you pick the right road, right? So the learnings are relevant as long as you are on the right track. So that is one point I would say about learnings. So I hope you got that. Journey I told you about is basically the challenges are everywhere. So yeah, that's pretty much about the journey. So modern technologies can be helpful for startups. Okay, so so basically, in this, so technology plays a very important role, I would say. But what we end up doing sometimes is overdo the technology part, right? We need to understand what is the business requirement first, and then support it with the technology. Because so suppose if you want to automate a process, right? You are thinking of automating whatever with technology. You don't end up thinking the solution in the first day. What you do is, if you can solve it with an Excel, you try to solve it from a process point of view, maybe, right? So whatever automations you need to define